Hello and welcome to the Year of Being 70, the weekly podcast that I, Lucy McCarraher, and my friend Lisette have been creating since we were 70 last year. And it is now our episode 43, which means we've actually only got 7 more episodes to go before the year closes. And we are
It closes on your birthday, right? That's when
yeah,
our year closes. Other people's years close at different
yeah.
other times, but we
Our
close then,
year of
yes.
being 70, our year of podcasting will close. And yes, it's interesting to look back on. But we thought that we would talk today about how old we feel. And I've been doing some research on aging and
I
long.
mean, before you do, let me interrupt you here. Is maybe it's a nice question to ask to viewers or listeners. Whatever your age, can you put in the chat, how old do you feel? How old do you feel? And so then, Lucy has done some research.
Yeah,
Tell us.
and it's a sort of question that you need to answer quickly, intuitively, not kind of, oh, do I feel this? Do I feel that? And it's sort of like, how old do you feel? Just tell me now, this minute. And so the research I've done is to tells me that there are 3 different kinds of aging. So there's our chronological age, which is obviously the date we were born, how many years we've been alive on the planet. It's in our passports, it's on our driving licenses.
And it's a day at a time, adding it up
Yeah,
till
exactly.
you get to 70.
Yeah. But different is our biological age, which you can test in a number of different ways. Obviously, how fit we are, what our cellular kind of age is, all sorts of tests you can do, and that can be. I mean, it's obviously somewhat related to our chronological age, but not entirely. Different people of the same chronological age can have different biological ages.
And is there anything you can do about your biological age
Well,
through
yes,
food or healthy
all of
lifestyle? And
that, all of that
okay.
basically, and I suppose potentially medical stuff. I don't know. I haven't got the details on that. But then the other one, which is the one we've just sort of raised, is your subjective age, and that is how old you feel, and that can literally change from day to day. But it's not. I mean, it's not just a kind of nice to know or kind of fun thing. It actually affects how it actually affects our biological age. I mean, obviously not our chronological age, but our subjective age, how we feel about aging, really affects how our bodies respond, and our minds as well. And
But tell me more. When I feel like 18, can I go back in time, Lucy? Do you
well,
have the key to that magical return to the age of uncertainty and possibilities?
Well, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because we can't lose our experience. We can't lose what we know, and what we've kind of accumulated in terms of, let's call it, our wisdom, perhaps.
I
But
love it. I love it when you call it our wisdom. You know that.
but we can. It's sort of more attitudinal, really. Whether you feel like you're like an old person, and you kind of lean into your, perhaps, kind of aging body and your infirmities and things, or whether
And
you
retirement.
retire. Yes, yes,
Retire. It's like you're already tired and then you retire again. It's a very strange word, actually. Right?
that's a good
Yeah.
one. Yes, yes. But it's all sorts of little things that make you feel differently about the age you are, and I think it's partly what you're doing. So sort of we both, I think, do things that a lot of people would think that 70-year-olds don't do. I mean, well, for a start, we're working, and it's all those sorts of things. The evidence for this is part of the evidence, only a small part. But one of the first pieces of research that kind of backed this up was, I've probably mentioned it before, but I find it absolutely fascinating. Was Ellen Langer, Professor Ellen Langer. She's a psychiatrist, and she's now kind of mindfulness expert. She calls herself the mother of mindfulness, but she doesn't mean mindfulness in the same way that many people do. But she, back in the 70s, she took a group of men, I think it was about 8 or 10 men who were in their 80s, and she took them to a monastery where she had completely kind of set up an environment that was like they were 50. So she had it had been decorated in the style of what was well, whatever year it was, the 50s, the 60s, whatever. The clothes that she had for them were all what they were wearing in those at those times. The TV was the programs they'd been watching then. The
The
music,
radio, the songs.
all the
Yeah.
songs. There were no mirrors at all.
Aha.
There were photos of the men when they were that age, when they were 30 years
When
young.
they were vigorous and healthy.
With it, and all the visitors treated them as if they were younger. So anybody who came and chatted with them or did stuff. I mean, for instance, when they arrived at the venue, they had to carry their own cases. They were not helped because they were old. They, even if it was difficult for them, they had to carry their own stuff, and they were completely treated as if they were younger. But the really interesting thing was that the measurements she did at the beginning and the end of this. I think they were only there for a week, so imagine if it had been longer. But so physically, they were fitter, they were more flexible, they were stronger, and it wasn't like they were doing lots of exercises. Mentally, they were sharper, their memory was better. Um, their attitude was much more positive. They laughed a lot, which they weren't particularly doing when they went in. And they were just generally, they appeared and felt younger. So, that was what started Ellen Langer off on a lifetime of researching all this sort of attitudinal stuff to life. And when she says mindfulness, she means not, sort of sit and, be in the present, but be kind of, I mean, she talks about the way we are mindful of getting old, like, oh gosh, I keep forgetting things, it must be because I'm old. She kind of says, no, look, did you forget stuff when you were 20? Did you forget people's names and things? Yeah, so don't ascribe it to being old, because that makes you old. So don't think like that. That's her kind of mindfulness. So I think all of that is fascinating and makes me feel like, there's kind of there's a kind of hopefulness about not having to age as much as you fear, perhaps, in a way.
Yeah, so this is all about not acting your age.
Yes, yes, it's as
It's like
simple as
act your
that.
age. No, 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 no.
No, utterly juvenile and childish, and I mean, I guess there's a limit. I mean, you can't sort of can't really go back to childhood, and well, I suppose you could try it, but
Well, some of us do sadly go back to childhood in a way, but I don't think everything can be prevented and we can live forever. But it
no,
is
no,
that while we are alive, we can be, functioning well and not kind of, yeah, wither away. So
yes.
when I ask, it's fascinating research. And when I ask you, Lucy, what age do you feel?
I think I'm 52, so I'm probably
You think you're 52. Okay, so what does that mean?
well. It means that I'm means that maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm operating in some way as 18 years younger than my actual age, and I don't know in what ways I am. I mean, or if I am, but I mean, I'm the reason I think one of the reasons I talk about, I often mention that I'm 70, and it's almost because I'm surprised. I mean, I can't get
Hmm.
my head around the fact that I'm 70. So I kind of tell people quite a lot that I'm 70
And
because
then they are surprised, aren't they?
sometimes I mean, I don't know, that might be kind of politeness, who knows?
Yeah.
But I don't know. What are the so what age do you feel, just off the top of your head?
Well, today, this moment, I feel about 18.
18.
So I think there's a part of me because I think parts of us feel different ages. And I certainly endeavor to act my age. I really loved the position of being an elder, of not being in the executive function anymore, not being operational. Nobody expects much operational things from me anymore. They expect presence and wisdom, and wow, isn't that wonderful? But there's a part of me that feels like so adventurous and so like I'm still discovering the world and what is all out there. And I have really no idea. So I think when you ask me in an hour's time, I might feel 90. No, 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 that's a good, because I might feel 52. But right now, I feel very much in my 18-year-old, a bit naive, a bit very idealistic self.
That's lovely. I mean, that's great. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sure there's probably a part of me that, well, I don't know. I can't honestly say I feel 18 today, but I have noticed that having lost a lot of weight recently, and I'm sorry to go on about constantly go on about losing weight,
No, but it's a big thing.
it does actually make me feel younger. And I look at myself and I think I've probably got more wrinkles and lines because my face is thinner now. But overall, I see a younger person when I look at my, sort of silhouette when I pass myself in a shop window. And I, that kind of makes me feel younger, and I'm able to wear younger clothes, I think, rather than the kind of, baggy, stretchy
Yeah, camouflage. I call them camouflage outfits.
bras. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So I think sort of enjoying. It's also I've got a terrible habit now of buying really cheap clothes online. It's sort of like a
We've spoken about that.
it's very bad. It's probably my food obsession has now moved.
Oh, is there a treatment? Can you get shots for that? Oh, really? But is it that bad? Do you want to talk about
No,
it?
it's not that bad. It's slightly more manageable than the food one. But I can't remember what I was saying now. But
Well, buying clothes online and looking at yourself and kind of going, wow, there's a much younger person, in the mirror over there.
yes, it is. It is kind of almost, but also physically, I feel so much more energetic and so much more just better in myself.
Right.
That makes me feel, I feel physically
It
younger in a sense because of that. I can do
100%.
more. I'm kind of able to walk further, all that kind of stuff. I even do a bit of dance exercise sometimes, which is
Oh la
embarrassing.
la!
Nobody's looking.
Nobody's looking. Well, when I turned 50, I remember asking people, how old they felt, especially also older people. And I asked my father, and he thought it was a silly question. I mean, he was the age he was. When I turned 50, he must have been, wow, what was he about, getting on to 80. And my mother said something like 35 or 40, she still felt very young. And so it is this subjective age. It's funny, I feel I always have a bit of jet lag. Like now, I'm almost used to calling myself being 70, but I'm in 2 weeks' time, I'll actually be 71. So there you go.
That's
So it
crazy,
all
isn't it?
adds up
Yeah,
again, right?
yeah,
But also when I look at my grandmother lived in an old people's home from before she was 75. And that was because she wanted to move from Amsterdam to where we lived. My mother was her only child. And she wanted to be near, and she had never really learned to cook or do household things, was not of interest to her, as it is not of interest to me, or really my mother, but my mother did it. But and then my father retired from, board directorships at 72. Then it kind of all fell away, and they moved to a sunnier climate. And he still sought out all kinds of things that he could do. But my mother was really, really a pensioner. But I think, none of us know how to do this thing of being 70 or 50 or 60, because also with the generations, it really changes. Nobody can really convey how it is. But when you look at your parents, they had a different life than
yeah.
we have. So and now our children, your children, my non-existent children. But again, at 70, they will be different, maybe live to be 100,
Yeah, who
healthily
knows? Who
and
knows?
vigorously, who knows?
Yeah, no, it is interesting, isn't it? Because your mother was a very extrovert, social, fun person. I mean, my mum was saying to me yesterday, talking about her, she was saying she was always such fun, Meek, such fun to be around, and I'm sure that was a kind of youthfulness in her,
Yeah.
probably right to the very end. That was, that was a kind of
Yeah, well, the very end, the final 7 years were difficult. And yeah, but she was a very, very social person. I mean,
yeah,
she would, in every, conversation I had with her, was just, I've seen that person, and we went to the museum with those people, and then we went out to dinner with them. And then, that was her life.
yeah. I mean, actually, I was reading today a blog post about super agers, the people who stay very compos mentis, who stay very kind of physically fit and everything to into their 80s and 90s, and the one thing they have in common is sociability and community. That seems to be and that loneliness is one of the biggest aging factors,
Hmm.
which is interesting too. So I expect, until she couldn't, your mother was probably kept very young by.
Yeah, but of course, I mean, she had friends mostly in her own age group, with
Yeah,
few exceptions who were younger. And of course, at some point, people around you start to die.
yeah,
And so she had three wonderful, wonderful women who came on Saturday evening and played bridge with her. And
well,
they said, we're going to do this until the very end. And my mother at some point couldn't really, see the intricacy of that game that
yeah,
makes it fun. And then COVID came. And of course, in COVID, they couldn't come. And then they never picked it up. And well, that was as it was. That was
yeah,
natural. But yeah, so at some point, the world really consists of widows, which is also very strange. If
yeah,
you have friends in the same age group, I mean, I have more varied friends. I was at the birthday of someone who turned 90 on Saturday, and tomorrow I'm going to have lunch with someone who is now pregnant with her second baby. So yeah, so there's a
yeah. Well,
big
no, in
range.
this article as well, it was saying that having friends in different age groups is part of that sort of the thing that keeps you young, part of that ideal sociability. I mean, my mother is 97; she'll be 98 next month, and and she has one friend left, one childhood friend left, but they can't see each other anymore because they're both too frail to move.
Can't travel.
No,
Yeah.
no. So they were seeing each other up to a few months ago, and now,
Oh, really?
yeah. But it's yeah.
But
So
does she have friends from other ages? Does she have
yes, yes,
younger friends too?
absolutely. Yeah, she's always made friends with the younger people as
Yeah.
well. So it's not that she didn't just have this one friend left. But all her other friends have, there are. I don't think I know anybody else in her age group still alive. So
That's also very, very strange. If you're kind of one of the last ones to go, then
yeah,
you've said a lot of goodbyes.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. You have, and there's no one you can share memories of, early times with, those particular times. And even with younger people, if you've lived through the same things, you haven't lived through them at the same age, so it's a different
No,
experience.
it's like in the experiment, the television
Yeah,
programs, the songs, the way, you dressed and how things were. No, that's absolutely true.
yeah, yeah. No, it's fascinating. So
So
what's
do you have an age that you want to reach? Do you want to live to be 100?
no, not. I don't know, but the thing is, I'm pretty sure when I get, if I say I don't actually want to live beyond 90, I mean, really, my mother's kind of peak, and perhaps I kind of see her too much, not on purpose, but as the kind of pattern I'm following. She was absolutely at a peak at age 90, and she had on her 90th birthday, her last book was launched.
Yeah.
So as well as
I
having a,
was there. I was there.
yes,
I
you were.
came over. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And then she broke her arm a couple of years later, and then everything went downhill physically, particularly from there. So that got, so I kind of see, 90 as an optimum time to kind of check out, possibly. But I'm pretty sure that when I get to 90, if I get to 90, and I'm not in tremendous pain, or that I will not. I mean, I think the will to live, to stay alive, is incredibly
And
strong.
you don't like endings either.
No, I don't like ending. Refuse to die.
I refuse and I don't like things to end.
Say goodbye to anybody. No.
Yeah.
Yes, no, I've
Yeah.
forgotten. Yeah. Oh dear. Yeah. It's but yeah, I mean, I certainly, because of the sort of what we're, kind of going through with mum at the moment, I'm terribly aware that, 20 years would be, maybe the most I can hope for. And I just feel this, I've got so much I want to do, and will I be able to fit it all in? And, will I don't know. It's even though I feel young, I know, I'm
Yeah.
also very well aware.
Chronological time is also a time that
Exactly.
ticks, every second. That's also true.
Yeah. Yeah. And when will things start to fall away? It's
Yeah. I have these things where people go like, well, the vision for 2050, it is like 2050, I will probably not be around when that happens. Or,
no, no.
investments, when there's funds, when I invest in a fund, it has a running time of 10 years plus 2 years of extension. I go like, oh, if I say yes now, I'll be close to 83 when it ends. Will that be, will I still understand it? Will I still be with it? But yeah, it's
Yeah.
strange to get, we've talked about kind of the ceiling. It's not the ceiling coming down, but we kind of
No,
lift it up.
we're kind of, yes, we're going up in the lift, and
Yeah. Yeah.
yes, no, that's true. I mean, you kind of, and I think of my grandchildren, and I wonder how far along their lives I will see them
Yeah.
develop. And and I know that mum kind of says to me too, I kind of want to stay alive to see what happens, what's in the
Yeah.
next episode, what's
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
going to happen next. And so there's always
Yeah, and it is also strange to think. I know my father on his, he had a brain tumor, so he had about 7 months living with that. And and then at some point we went to a shareholders meeting of the company that he used to work for. And so some of us came after that meeting and he said, yeah, yes, and next year there will be another holders meeting and I won't be there. And he said it with a kind of sense of surrender, but also a sense of it's like it's so unfathomable.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
difficult to understand. At some point, we will not be there, and time will continue. The world will continue, and things will happen, and AI will be the norm. And you know,
yeah. I sometimes wonder, is it possible to actually conceive of not being there? I mean, you can't. I mean, if you imagine a world where you're not in it, you're still imagining the world with you in
yeah,
it, because you're still seeing it
yeah.
as, going on. So is it even possible for us to conceive of, unless you have, I don't know. I'm always fascinated too by near death experiences, and what people sort of
They'll
feel
see
after.
the white light and have a hard time coming back to Earth because they
Yes, and be kind
felt.
of greeted by people who have gone before, and things like that. That must be fascinating. Have you ever had anything like that? You're the sort of person, I feel.
Well, I went to a conference at Fintorn about with people who had had near-death experiences
Oh,
because I find those messages from the other side really fascinating. And when
yeah,
I did my book in Dutch about widowing, there was this chapter that came not because I wanted it to be there, but because widows told me stories about messages that they had received from
yeah.
their beloveds. And another thing is, do you have in your life that you meet people and you go like, oh, but I knew you already. Huh? Or have you been in places where you felt, oh, I must have been here before?
I don't think I've ever had the places thing. I don't think. There are certainly people I've met. I mean, I think you're more likely to put it in those terms than me. I mean, there are certainly people I meet where the kind of rapport is so instant that you wonder if there's something other than just, oh, we get on well, we share the same interests, or we have the same sense of humor or something. I mean, I do. I'm fascinated by. I know you believe in um,
Yeah.
past
I mean,
lives.
I've had so many of these experiences.
Yeah, yeah,
I've had so many. I've had them in India where I was cycling and I just knew if I turn that corner, there will be a kind of a hill and there will be a temple and I was there and I went there and there was a festival and they
well,
invited me in and it was like, yes, I've
really,
all done this before. I've
really,
all
and
done this.
it was familiar. It was sort of like
Oh, it
deja
was
vu.
so like so familiar. And
Mm.
even speak, but I've said this, I think, even speaking English. I really think when I came to stay with you, I was like 13, 14. English was not everywhere as it is now.
No,
When we were young, if they would do the experiment with us, in our younger years, yeah, English was everywhere for you, but not so much for
not, of course
us.
not. No.
And then with pop culture and with movies and, expanding in television, that all came to the point that even now, sometimes here in the street, I speak English to people because I'm assuming they're tourists, but also as a habit. But I feel I can really inhabit the English language.
Oh,
And,
you
and it
absolutely.
is, I mean, I'm a language person, but this really goes beyond it.
No, I mean,
Early age
I don't know what,
thing.
but I mean, I marvel every time we talk how you have, sort of natural, idiosyncratic English turns of phrase, and I do often wonder where on earth did you hear that? Where did you pick that up from? And yeah, oh, really? So you put that down to having been English or English speaking in a past life? That's fascinating.
But
Wow.
also people. I have a new friend, Sabine, and the first time we met, we were both like, where have you been all this time, sister? And so
Wow.
we're still in the process of getting to know things about each other's lives because that's now 2 years ago or so.
Wow.
But we do somehow know each other. It also helps she's an eldest daughter too. So, we know those kinds of patterns, but still there's like a recognition. And I sometimes think also falling in love is, recognizing someone
Oh, that's
on a
interesting. Yeah. Yes. Wow. So do you feel that about Jos, that you knew him in a past life?
well, the kind of instant total trust. I trusted him totally from when we first spoke, and he does not believe or it's not of any concern to him. He says, I'll find out when I'm dead whether I come back or not, but for now I'm here. So
Absolutely.
it's very kind of practical minded. But I do feel, yeah, in a different configuration, we might have been together before. And also people I work with. I work with, intimately or intensely and energetically. And it's like, wow, there we are again. We're doing this. We've done this before. We've come into this time to do it again.
That's fascinating, isn't it? Because yes, well, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, you could have been in a completely different relationship with that person before. I
Yeah.
mean, not necessarily a partner, but perhaps a parent or a child of,
Yeah.
or
And have a different gender. And yeah.
yes, exactly. Yes. Yes, that is fascinating. And yes, I wonder how
So
much.
if something happened when I said, when you fall in love, that there may be, that you feel this instant connection because you don't only feel it in the heart or the physical. I mean, there's all that, but there's kind of a,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah, yeah. No, no, that's true. And I mean, I, I feel that I've sometimes fallen in love with people who are so unlikely to people people for me to. I'll say it. I mean, Richard is so different from me in so many ways, and people are always quite surprised when they see us together, find us together. We don't look like a typical couple in all sorts of ways. And we don't we don't share a lot of interests. I mean, we have really kind of antithetical interests in many ways. I mean, he loves music and motorbikes and fast cars. I do not like any of those things. So I'm a really hopeless partner for him because I can't accompany him. I can't bear sitting through concerts and he of any kind, and he loves all kinds of music. So but there's something that is sort of really kind of powerful between us. So I can't, and maybe you've just put your finger on it. I don't. Yeah, no, that really kind of. And there are other people, in my life who it's sort of like it's an odd relationship. I mean, they are kind of not people I would I would kind of go and seek out necessarily, but who have been a really important part of my life, who have been very different to me and or are. And yeah, I wonder if there are. Yes, that's really interesting to think about, Lisette. And of course, I'm the sort of person who doesn't get any intimations of this kind of spiritual side of life. And I can see you're going to say it's probably my own fault and I'm pushing it away.
I'm not going to say that at all. Really. I'm
But
not going to say that at all. It's just,
but you do have a much more porous relationship with than I do with the sort of borders, boundaries between, I don't know, energetic life, spiritual life, and what I would call everyday life than I
so
do.
yesterday, the two of us actually met,
We
right?
did,
I
yeah.
was in London and I saw your mother, and it was really wonderful to see her and to be able to convey to her how grateful I am for her presence in my life and how much she's been a role model as a working mum, which my mother was not. And afterwards, I went for a walk with a friend, and he knew this wonderful place is called the Onion Garden.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it's on the so you have Green Park subway station, and then you go through the park, Buckingham Palace, and then somewhere to the left, and it's there. Anyway, they I bought a card there
Oh wow, look at that.
to
Oh,
remind me. It is really, if you can find the Onion Garden, I recommend if you're in London, go there. It's really the sweetest place. It's a little oasis.
gosh.
Yes, I bought this because this could be the kind of thing my mother used to kind of paint in this
Oh,
sweet way. But it's also the way I felt as a child, really. That, the magic of plants and of fairies, and that was all very alive for me. So, yeah, when I saw this, I bought this. So I think I had that as a child. Did you? Did you
no,
did
no,
you
I,
feel
I
that you were
don't.
in an enchanted forest?
No, I didn't have that. I think I've always been the same. I kind of, I'd love to see what I call ghosts and spirits. At least
Yeah.
I think I would, but it's never happened to me. I loved it when my father used to read me ghost stories, even though sometimes they terrify me and literally give me nightmares. But it's never. And he actually said that when he was young, he I think he only just said it once, but he saw a fairy, and he is absolutely. I mean, he's not the kind of person who would talk about this kind of thing, but he was absolutely, this he never stopped sort of believing that he had seen an actual fairy when he was young. I don't know how old, but
Wow.
yeah, yeah. So
Beautiful. Well, one of these actually. Yeah. So
maybe,
I think, that connection when I was young, it was there and it wasn't in my family. And I kind of gave it up and I kind of got it back after my 40s. And I still live in this incredibly alive universe. And so many lives after this one
yes, that's
and
interesting.
before.
Yes, yes. So we're in a. Does it go on forever in your view, or do you think we reach
I have no
whatever it
clue.
is, nirvana or
I
whatever?
don't know. Maybe there's also other planets or other dimensions we can go to in other existences that have a different vibration and that are not so physical in this wondrous way. When I hear my friend Jude speak about the time before the universe existed, but all the building blocks also that build our DNA and our bodies were already there.
That's that's extraordinary. Yes, yes. I mean, I know scientifically that, all of us have little pieces of meteor and dinosaur bones, and we contain it in our bodies, and it's, maybe tiny, but it's there. That's, that is the scientific kind of um
Yeah, and creation has, a limited amount of building blocks and configures it in different ways, but we are not so different. Our DNA is not so different from an onion or a
no,
carrot.
no.
It's so interesting.
It is. It's fascinating. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's about her age. I'm really getting used to, I'm going to say I'm 71, but I'll say it in 2 weeks' time and
Yeah.
tell you how it is, my dear,
Yes, you'll have to
with
let
my little month ahead of you,
from that distant, that far
from the distant
time
months ahead of you.
between. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know. I do wonder whether I'm actually going to not like being seven. I mean, not the actual experience, but being 70 is quite a sort of. I mean, it's a nice. It's a kind of, it's a special place to be, and it's, I have enjoyed it, and I've, kind of liked saying I'm 70. 71 is a bit kind of like it's sort of.
So here is your attachment again. All the time we have to release, every moment. I was in a retreat and I had a wonderful experience. I felt I really have a sense of Genesis because I co-created something, a drawing, and we put it 3D things on it with two men and another woman. And we were in this space of, first of all, be in the not knowing what we were going to make.
Yeah,
Really, if we were going to make anything, where, how, and then step into the field of oneness and then allow creation and emergence to come from there. And each time the four of us, made something. Even the first, the woman drew a circle and it was just perfect. We could have just left it at that. But then I got the impulse to kind of go around it. And first she thought, what's she doing? And then it was perfect. And we
gosh,
just left it at that. And then one of the men kind of with the and then one of the other men cut the corners of a paper. And so each time it was like, wow, it is perfect. And there is another impulse of creation. It
yeah,
was such a wonderful experience to have.
yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah,
Very, very perfect. And then there's instant attachment that we can enjoy, but then let go of. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think you're a more kind of evolved spiritual being than me, and therefore you're better at kind of.
So maybe you are a newcomer to this earth. So maybe you haven't had previous lives,
Oh,
to
well,
get
I'm
in
sure I
touch
must have.
with. Or
I must have had some previous lives, surely.
surely, well, there's also
Maybe
newcomers here. I mean, we are 8 billion now, so some people are here maybe for the first time.
maybe I haven't had as many as you, though. Maybe I'm earlier on in the journey. I mean, people refer to some people as old souls, don't they? As if, they feel they've got accumulated wisdom
Yeah.
and experience. Nobody's ever called me an old
An
soul.
old soul. No. But I believe that I have had many lives, but I'm still quite a young soul. And I'm quite, my mother used to be very lighthearted, happy-go-lucky. She would call
Yes, she
herself
was. Yeah,
very happy-go-lucky. And of course, that has influenced me and us in many ways. So I feel I'm quite lighthearted and yeah, so there's a lightness I feel in my soul.
that's lovely. but you also feel that you actually feel the presence of previous lives of.
Yeah, well, not all the time because
No,
this
no,
is
no, I don't.
busy enough as it is. And that's also something about feeling your age because I do want to inhabit being 70 and being 71 and just finding out how is it to be that in this time on this place on earth because it can be different in other places and how is it to be a woman of 2 weeks shy of 71. I love that expression, 2 weeks shy of
Now,
71.
where did you get that from? That's a sort of very.
Where did I get that from? Someone.
Yeah, yeah, interesting. Do you have actual memories of past lives? Do you kind of have scenes or d-
Well, I did some workshops on that. It's a long time ago. I think it might be even, 35, 40 years ago, where there was like an exercise. I feel you can enter that level of awareness, but you need to kind of prep. It's not kind of here for me right now.
no?
Um, and but I have very vivid memories of this workshop, really 40 years ago, I think. 35, something like that, of, being a young boy in Africa and, walking barefoot through the hot sand, running around and being in a kraal I have a very vivid memory of that. It's
Yeah,
lovely.
that's extraordinary. And do you ever question whether you could just have sort of made that up? That you could have conjured it out of.
Well, yeah, I mean, I could have made it up, and I choose to believe that, that is somewhere like the dinosaur bones and the meteorites. It's somewhere in my system, and why not enjoy that experience as
Yeah,
well?
yeah. No, no, absolutely, absolutely. No, it's all very interesting. I wonder how long, if this is all true, assuming that this is a kind of process and a pattern. I wonder how long you get between lives and what
Yeah.
happens in the interim, and do you kind of get to rest between human
Or
lives?
you sent back immediately, or
Yes.
yeah.
Whether you want to or not. Do you get any choice in where you're going? What person, what character you're going to inhabit next time?
So
It's
the friend I saw yesterday, who has lost my friend, his wife in May, when they met, they were kind of, huh? And he was in a relationship and I don't, and then they saw their son. They both had an experience of kind of seeing him and him wanting them to be together in order to have a life with them,
for him to be born, for him to
him
exist.
to be born.
Oh,
So there's an interest in souls, in certain people wanting to guide you to come on, come on.
yeah, gosh, that's extraordinary. Wow, wow.
Well,
Oh, well, gosh.
gosh,
That wasn't what I expected us to talk about today, but that's fine. And that's
yes. So see you again next week.
next week. Yes, indeed. And yes, go through many.
Curious about the age that people feel they are and their biological age, because then, yeah.
And also, if you've had any experiences of past lives or future lives or anything like that, I'd love to hear about it. I'm fascinated by this, even if I have no intimations of it myself.
Yeah, let's convince Lucy that,
I'm not unconvinced. I just don't, I
don't
don't
have it. So I'm assuming you have not had previous lives because otherwise you would have had
think
an
I know. Oh my
experience.
goodness. No, that's awful. I want to have had
No,
previous.
no, you have many lives in front of you.
I
You have
see.
many lives in front of you.
Oh, I hope they're good.
Go on and on.
All right.
All
Well,
right, see you next week.
bye.
Bye.